welcome to the channel. I'm Summer. I am so excited for today's video. I have put clip-in extensions in my hair so I can show you guys a DIY haircut tutorial. We are gonna do medium to long layers with some nice face framing, so you're gonna have all the volume still with your long hair. We're gonna get movement, shape, and we're gonna be creating some easy layers that you can do on your own. With that being said, let's get started. Okay, so we are just gonna hop into things. I have decided to cut my hair dry today. I normally am a big fan of cutting the hair wet because I just feel like you get more even tension that way. However, I have realized packing my head in with this many extensions to try to give you guys a DIY cut you can do on your own for this look is very hard if the hair is all wet. So I am basically going to be using my real length as a guide for this cut today because my back layers come just sort of to that occipital point, so it's gonna flow into some nice medium to long layers, and we're gonna be doing face framing as well based off of my real hair here. So first things first, we're just gonna section off the hair and we're gonna be working in 4 sections. So what we're gonna do is you're just gonna separate right down the sides behind your ear. And granted, I have these clip-ins in, so mine might not be as perfect as yours, but that's okay. So you're gonna take the hair, section it off, and you'll do the same on the other side. Right behind that ear. Okay, so now that you have your 2 side sections done, what you're gonna do is you're gonna come to the center of the head. So as you can see, I have a side part here, but I am gonna cut the back center to the head. So you would come like you were if you were gonna have a middle part, and you're just gonna go down your hair. You could use a comb, your fingers, or a clip, whatever you're comfortable with. But now that we have one side sectioned off, you could go ahead, or I should say now that we have the back split into 2 sections, what you can do is just opt to clip this out of the way so you don't grab any of the hair when you are doing this. And again, when you don't have clip-ins in, you can really get some better, cleaner sectioning, but you get the point. So we're gonna be creating what is more so known as square layers. And I find these layers to be the easiest way to do layers on your own at home because you're just bringing everything up. And what it does is it creates a nice flow when the hair falls back down. We might cut some of this length naturally, we'll see. But I will show you what my guide is. It's gonna be my real hair. So what you will do is pull your hair straight up, and you're gonna see your guide. I'm gonna actually snip into this just a little bit first. So when you've set your guide to where your layers are, again, with this length, I think at this occipital bone area is a nice place to start if you want more of a medium to long layered look. So after you set your guide, you're gonna take your next section and we are gonna comb straight up. I can see where my guide is here. I'm gonna lift my hands to that. We're gonna bring the hair back down because it's gonna be easier to see. And we're just gonna point cut into this hair to blend it in to our guide. Pull that back up. I need to cut just a little bit more off of this corner. Perfect. And then all you're gonna do is take more hair. You can use your fingers and comb straight up, the same as you did before. And you're gonna continue to follow your guide. So why I like to break it into 2 sections like this is that you can see, for when it's easier to grab the hair, but you also get a little bit more of that uniform look of the layers all throughout the hair on both sides, it's gonna flow, where if you try to take one big section back here and over direct everything up, it doesn't look bad, but you don't get as much evenness. It flows still, but it becomes a definite stationary layer because you're over directing back to that center and whatnot. So I like to break it up into 2 sections to just give me a little bit more movement. And so I'm gonna pull this back up now that I've cut some of it and see if I need to take any more length off. I'm leaving it a tiny bit longer than that original guide, and that's okay. But in this corner here, again, we need to remove more length. And I think that's good. I personally like point cutting. It just helps to keep the layers really nice and soft, rather than if you do it like a blunt hard line, you really don't have as much wiggle room to fix it if you take too much hair. So that's why I always point cut. It just creates a much softer look. Again, extend that hair straight up, and you're just gonna follow along through to your guide. So as you move further down the head, you're just gonna continue pulling everything straight up how you've been doing. And then at some point you won't have as much hair to cut, or you might not have any hair to cut depending on how long your hair is. I always say I wish I had basically as much hair as I have in right now with these clip-in extensions, but holy moly, it is a lot of hair to work through. So just same movements up, and you can see your previous guide. And I grabbed the wrong scissors. Cut. So I'm feeling like I'm still a little long on my outer edge here. So all I'm gonna do is just actually really deep point cut into this. I'm not gonna necessarily take all the length off, but just cutting into it more to help soften this up, so it looks a little bit more lived in. So as you can see, when you go to let this out, and we're gonna definitely have to texturize some with these being extensions, it creates a little bit of a softness. So like I said, this outer layer is a little shorter, a little longer. So I'm gonna go in and tweak that. I'm just gonna do a little bit of hair at a time. This corner right here needs to go. Okay, so I'm gonna continue with the rest of this section, and then we will move into our other side. So I have my last piece actually on here, and let's see if we have any length to remove. Ooh, just a little bit. So I am removing just a touch of length at that very bottom, so I am definitely gonna have to go in and like clean that up to some level. But I didn't think actually that these would hit all the way. right there. Okay, so now that I have done that side, we're gonna bring that forward and I'm gonna let these pieces out. And what I'm going to do is, so to help you set your guide, you wanna leave out a little bit from your top hair here of the section that you cut to help you set your guide. So pull that out of the way, and then you're just gonna clip the rest of this back. I'm gonna grab just a little bit more hair out to make sure because of the clip-ins. And then this is just gonna get clipped. So it's the same exact movements. You're bringing everything up, and all that you're gonna do to set your guide is take the hair from the other side in the top section with a little bit of your previous guide. We're gonna comb straight up. You're gonna find your guide in here. So that's my real hair. This is a little longer, so we're just gonna match the length of that first, of the longer one, and I can always go back after the fact. And we're gonna even that out. So you see I let my hair down and I am turning it so I can cut it, because it's gonna be much easier to match it up that way rather than trying to have my arms all the way extended up. It's just a lot more difficult. So that's looking good. This is the extension hair. This is the extension hair, and they're matching up well enough. And now we're gonna move in to the rest of the hair on this side of the head. Little bit of hair at a time. All that hair goes by. This outer corner. So if you want to know, I bought these clip-ins on Amazon. I have 2.5 packs in my head to get them to blend with how short my real hair is, but I will link them in the description below if you are somebody who like wants to add some length here and there or some thickness. They're very affordable, and if you need to color them, they actually grab color fairly well for extensions, because that's always hit or miss. Just if you're gonna color them, do like a test strand. Don't just color all of them at one time. Just so you can see how the hair takes. But I'm quite impressed with them for the price point and the quality that they are. You always move through the second side faster than you do the first side. Because you're like, oh, I'm a pro, I've got this down. And then this will be the first section of our very final bottom length. And we have just a little bit there. Okay, so once you have your 2 back quadrants done, what I like to do then is I'll just skim across the very top layer, kind of in one big swoop, because it lets you see if you need to clean up any hair. So we're just gonna bring all the hair straight up, and you'll take a look and you'll see if anything is super obvious that needs cutting. So I'm fine with how this is looking. So if you have pieces that need blending, you'd blend them in. but you would blend it in first, and then you take your next section, and you can do bigger sections of hair here just because you cut the bulk of it. And you're just gonna quickly check it that way. So let's see if this needs any tweaking. Oh yes, I've got a good amount right here in this corner and a little bit over here. So all we're gonna do is just match that up, and you're gonna point cut the same. Much better. And probably I won't have anything down here for this section if I can comb it up. It's a lot of hair. I'll do it in 2 parts. Just barely. And we have just a little bit of hair here, nothing crazy. Okay. Now the real work begins with the face framing. The back is a lot of work, especially when you have a lot of hair. The amount of extensions here is wild and crazy. I definitely think I'm gonna have to be removing some length though. This will probably get skimmed when I go to do the face frame. But for now, we're gonna let down our sides, and I'm actually gonna clip that hair in the back out of the way so I don't touch it. We'll bring it out later, but just so it stays back away from your face. So after you've clipped your hair, you can see I've got a little bit of like a bend here from my clips. If you want, you can re-flat iron your hair here. I'm not super concerned with it just because I know where I'm gonna be blending in. But what you would want to do, so I'm gonna be basing this guide off of my real hair here for the face frame. So it's gonna stay long, but we're gonna be removing more length here. You would wanna set your guide first. So what you would do, I will show you that. You're gonna come down and you would kind of visually take a look of where you wanna see maybe a swoop or a bend. If I had my hair actually this long, I would bring my real hair up a little bit more, but because my hair is naturally shorter, I'm not gonna be bringing it up much. I'll just skim a little bit of it for you guys though, so you can see how you would set your guide. You just come down and find it. So if it was at your chin, you would at an angle, come up and cut here to where your chin is. I'm gonna do longer than that just cause, and I'm just gonna lightly skim. Just cause my real hair probably could use it. Nick this corner a little. Okay, and once you've done that, all you're gonna be doing is working in partings, what are gonna look like little baby kind of triangles. So you're gonna come, grab a small section at a time. You're gonna push that other hair back behind your shoulder, because all you're gonna be doing is blending down into this. Now, if you like to preserve more weight, when you go to cut it, when you go to slice, you're gonna pull the hair across your body to the other side of your face to help preserve more length. If you wanna take more weight out, you can just glide it straight down. So you're gonna add an angle with your hands in your comb. So my fingers are up. My section was taken at an angle with my comb. I can see my real guide down here, all that's fallen out. And then as I cut, I'm slivering and sliding across my face. You wanna go slow. You do not wanna cut too much hair at one time. So if you have to do this in multiple steps, that's okay. Slow and steady. So I'm coming in and I'm cutting as I slide across my face. Another way you could do it if you want is if you see your guide down here, you can come up from your longer point and you're gonna angle your shears, and from the longer end come up and cut into that guide that you see. So you're creating still an angle that works through. Angled my own hair a little bit more there. So I'm just gonna take another look, cut into it slightly a little bit more. Hold it in different positions. And that is coming together nice. Now, I probably will have to texturize these extensions a little bit. Extensions don't cut quite the same as real hair. So usually I will go in and texturize them. But all you're gonna do is keep working down in your hair the same as you were. So you see your angle start here. We're gonna come in. I see my old guide. You can come in and go across your face to blend that in. Or you can come up at it as well. I like to do actually a little bit of both. So I'll go in across my face first and then just come in and point cut through. Oh yeah. That's creating quite a nice angle there. And then at this point, I easily can see my guide. All this hair has to be cut here. And I'm actually just gonna glide right into this. So for now, I'm gonna leave this little tail because I might be able to blend it in with my back section, we'll see. But what we're gonna do now is move into our other side. And what you would wanna do to match your face frame, we'll see how well mine matches up. I have my actual haircut is asymmetrical, so it's a little shorter naturally on this side. But you would just come and you're gonna over direct it to where you part your hair and make sure that they meet up. So these are meeting up good with me. So I'm gonna tuck all this hair. You could clip it if you want. If you're worried about it falling in your face, you can do that. And you're gonna do the same steps. So small sections at a time. Push this hair back away from your face. And usually on the other side of my head, I do my movements a little different just because you're holding the hair differently. One side's gonna be much easier to glide through, the other side, not so much. So what I'll do, still grab a little bit of hair at a time. We're still gonna be angling our hands down and we're gonna be coming from the bottom and working our way up to meet our guide. So you're still creating that angle through the hair. And you're gonna take your next section and do the same thing. So I'm combing all this hair forward. My hands are coming down at an angle. I can see now my old guide that I cut. Hopefully you guys can see this. I need to angle this hair right in here. And just blend right into that. So when we go to let it down, we're still creating this nice angular flow. And as you move further down into your face frame, you're gonna be cutting further down on the section of hair. And I just have this last little bit right here. So your hands are always gonna be holding the hair at somewhat of an angle. You're gonna be coming up into it. You want a nice swoop. So I'm gonna let down my other face frame and we're gonna take a peek and see how it's feeling. This is the hardest part of a haircut on your own, on yourself at home, is matching up these face frames. You wanna make sure you have ample mirrors to look through, but you would just pull your pieces in towards you. And if there's obvious things that are mismatching, you would wanna go ahead and cut them. So I'm gonna take a peek one more time at the side. The length is actually matching up pretty well. I feel like I'm just a little bit longer in the middle section. So I'm gonna leave that for now. Now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna lightly layer in here. And usually I don't like to do a ton of layers if I even have longer hair like this, just because I talked about this in my video I did last week, or the last one I did. If you have a receded hairline, like I do, and you're naturally thin in your sides, you have to be very careful with the amount of face framing you do, as well as the layers. You have to really think of it as cutting surface layers. So do your face frame first, and then if you feel like you want a little bit more movement, go ahead and go in and layer, which is what we're gonna do now. And we're just gonna do very soft layers. So I'm gonna bring this hair, I'm gonna place my comb under my head, and I'm just gonna come towards in at my face, angling, and we're just gonna lightly cut a little bit more face frame. So again, comb underneath the head. You're gonna come over and across your face while twisting, and cut if anything randomly pokes out. And then what you're gonna do, take a section, we're gonna go up and over. And you're just gonna cut out that little amount of hair that sticks out. So what that does is it also does help to soften the face frame. It also creates a little bit more of a layer without taking too much weight from the hair at the same time, because these sides do tend to get thin. Sometimes even with the thickest hair, it's just a small section. So you want to make sure you're not overcutting. And I've got my final piece here on the sides. Up and over, and we probably have nothing to cut there. And then you'll repeat that on your other side, and then we're gonna blend in the back. And that's my real hair, so I'm gonna leave it. So the sides are now done, and we are gonna let out our back section to see if we have any length to cut, which I'm kind of hoping I don't have to cut too much. I'm liking that I might be able to actually wear these for fun. So we're gonna comb all the hair forward, which, yes, we need to remove more length because that's not gonna blend well from the back. So you're gonna basically just blend in this excess length the same as you would with the face frame. You're gonna take a little amount of hair at a time from your back section, and you're just gonna continue angling down into it to soften it, and that'll help create to that nice V shape that a lot of people love that look. So you'll just follow your guide. Sometimes you can even just comb the hair down and cut it, blending right into that, really nice. Take more from that back section. We're combing it down. And just blend right on down into that. I definitely needed to remove length. Silly for thinking I didn't need to. So I see my hair here, and we're just gonna slide right down into that. And then I'll bring it up and take a look at it. And I'm just gonna point cut into these to soften it, just because this extension here is so blunt. And so we need to just kind of cut off this corner right here, because that is just not blending in well, because you can see the layers from the back. So this is gonna be too much of a kind of intense point. So all I'm gonna do is just basically round it off. And we're gonna repeat the same on the other side. So take a little bit of that length. You can comb it down And you're just gonna blend it in. The smaller sections you work at a time, it might take you a little bit longer, but it makes it easier to be able to clearly see, because if you take too much hair at one time, it can be hard to see through to your previous guide. And then if you like cut it wrong or you overcut, it creates a whole problem on its own. So it might seem so long and tedious to do it in sections like this at a time, but it makes for an easier cut in the long run as far as how it comes out. And we're gonna do the same where we square off or round out this little bibbit tail. Okay, so once you have done that, we're gonna do a true test. Try to get as in the middle of your head as possible. We're gonna push it all forward. Okay, not bad. So I have just a little bit of correcting we need to do here. It's a touch bit longer on this side, but what you're gonna do is, with your head as straight as possible, you're just gonna comb the hair straight down. Are my hands straight? I think so, yes. So it is this front corner here, or you could literally, that would have been easier for me to just pull it forward, and you can see where I have a little bit more length here that needs to go. So I'm just gonna bring that forward, meet up with my fingers. I see this length that needs to go. Right here. So I visually see that, and we're just gonna cut it. I'm impressed with myself. I didn't know how this would go, honestly, with the extensions, because they don't cut the same as real hair. But all you'd wanna do is kind of do the same thing. So you're gonna grab pieces that are in the same level of your head. So you don't wanna like have one hand up here, one hand down here, and then bring it forward. You wanna try to grab the hair in the same spots. And all you're gonna do to help kind of check, if you're somebody like me who likes to wear their hair forward a lot like this, you're just gonna do the same thing. Bring it down, see where they're meeting up. Like this is meeting up so well. I could cut a little bit more here, but honestly, when you're cutting your own hair, like you have to give like some grace to yourself, because it's a challenge, honestly, to make sure everything is like completely lining up and perfect. Okay, I'm thinking that's pretty good. I'm happy with where it's at. I feel like it blended in really well. So all I am going to do now, I'm gonna reshape it so I give it some body and bounce, and then I will show you guys my final end result. All right, here we have our finished and final look. I am obsessed with my hair with these clip-ins, and I may have created a monster within myself. We have lots of movement and shape. I went ahead and did a nice voluminous blow dry with just my Dyson Airwrap, actually, so it's very easy to achieve on your own at home. So we have lots of volume, lots of body, which is so great with these type of layers, especially in this length. Remember to take small sections when cutting, especially that face frame, as it's gonna help keep everything nice and easy. It's better to go slow and steady than rushing through it and maybe cutting more than you want. I hope you guys enjoyed today's haircut tutorial. I will be enjoying my hair for the rest of the day. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.